G'day team.
So another beautiful day, and today we thought we're going to take you out to Namadgi National Park. Namadgi National Park here in the Australian Capital Territory occupies 46% of the entirety of the territory, which is quite a lot to be honest. And it does border the Kosciuszko National Park in New South Wales. So we're going on a hike today we've never been on before. So the beauty about the national park is there's so many hikes. You can go just on a day hike, or you can even go for days on day walks. And yeah, so we're hoping to see some kangaroos, beautiful nature as always, some echidnas, wombats, well they are asleep, so you guys stay tuned while we take along.
Well, g'day team, here we are at a lookout point overlooking Namadgi National Park. As Kat explained, Namadgi is an Aboriginal word meaning this particular location, particularly the mountain ranges behind me there, Mount Namadji, Mount Kelly, and a few others I can't remember. But this is the environment that we like to come out to. It's absolutely gorgeous out here, and this hike is going to be great. Let's go. So we're on a trail. What's the name of this trail again? I can't remember.
Gully flat?
No, that's where we're going to. It's part of the border walk. So this land here, you can see it's a bit cleared and whatnot. We're actually in Namadgi National Park. Just over that way is a bit more as New South Wales. So this area, back in the day, used to be farms. Okay, that's her call when there's kangaroos nearby. Over there they are. So yeah, so this is all farms back in the day. When Namadgi National Park was created back in the early 80s, they incorporated nearby farmland into the national park. So that's why it's a bit clearer around here. There would have been cattle, sheep, yeah, mostly cattle and sheep would have been out this way. Very interesting method of farming, still largely uncleared. So well, there's some roos over there. Unusual that they'll be up during the day. Not sure if you can see them, they're a little bit of a distance from here. Alright, let's keep going. So one of the things you find a lot up here in the high country, on all the bushwalks and that, is a little register. Inside the register is this document, and you fill out the date, who's travelling, how many's in the party, your vehicle registration, mobile phone number, where you're going to, estimated time of return, and you sign when you safely come back. So it's important when you're out here, you keep an eye out for these things and you fill it out. You know, if anything happens to you, you get taken by a drop bear or a yowie, you know, you don't return back to your vehicle, the rangers notice, I'll come and check the register. It's one of the first things I'll look for. All right, well, let's keep going. So I just wanted to send a shout out to everyone that's been watching our videos and even subscribing to us. Look, we're not the kind of people to say like, subscribe, comment, all that sort of stuff. You know, if you want to watch our videos, you're more than welcome to. This is more of a hobby for us. It's pretty obvious that we are not professional videographers or vloggers by any stretch of the imagination. Our video content might not be of the best quality you see, but you know, we're genuine. We've been following some really outstanding YouTubers over the last couple of years or so.
Scotty on walkabout.
Scotty on walkabout, shout out to you.
Silly swag man.
And the silly swag man, shout out to you too, brother. Oh yes, and was it the bearded bushranger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys, if you happen to find them, follow them. Really good content that you thoroughly enjoy if you're into hiking, the outdoors, that sort of stuff, and camping. With Kat and I, we just do day hikes, you know. We will sort of broaden our content out a little bit more to camping, and when the time comes, we've got some exciting news about that later on. We'll talk about that in another video. But for now, thanks for watching our videos, and yeah, we'll try to bring out more content more frequently when we can. We've both got full-time jobs, we've both got very busy lives, but when we can, we like to go out and do these kind of things, and we like to document them. All right, let's keep going.
Andrew and I, we are both from the seaside, so I grew up on a tiny island. So I'm a beach bum. Andrew, he grew up near Coffs Harbour, so he is a beach bum through and through. And yes, we live in the high country now, and it is very far away from a beach, but it's still, you know, it's so pretty, and it's pretty on a very different level. And I come out here and was just like, oh, this is so pretty. And it really is. Let me show you around. Now, how is that not pretty? So pretty.
So you see if all this grass that's been matted down here, this would be considered a bedroom. So it's all matted down by the kangaroos. This is where they would sleep until the sun shifts. So they're out of the shade, so they'll move on. Moving along, if you look at the ground here, you'll see what looks like horse hooves, which is technically correct because they belong to brumbies. Brumbies are an iconic animal to the Australian high country and the outback. They were introduced back in colonial times. Some of them escaped, and they've been in the bush ever since. A lot of brumbies have been rounded up by the old timers back in the early 20th century, and they later became famous for their durability and service during World War One. The charge at Beersheba is a testament to their, you know, outstanding legacy to Australian culture. Unfortunately though, brumbies are an introduced species. They do have an environmental impact, and so some jurisdictions are going about culling them. I don't necessarily agree with it. Some people do, or a lot of people do, and a lot of people don't. It's a very divisive issue.
We don't want to open up a discussion here. It's just the opinion we share.
Yeah, this is just our thoughts. We're very much in tune with environmental issues, and of course the nature that we love. But when it comes to the brumby, they're such an iconic Australian legend. You know, there has to be a way forward to preserve the brumby, at the same time protect the Australian environment. It's a very complicated issue, and I'm certainly not going to be, you know, debating with anyone about this. Everyone's entitled to their thoughts, and what happens happens. But for our thoughts, we hope the brumby still has a place in the Australian environment and still has a legacy to give to Australia's heritage. Anyway, that's our thoughts about it.
And touching on the issue of approaching wildlife, as we learned a couple of, was it weeks or months ago, some chick decided it's just such a good idea just to steal a wombat joey from mom and just take photos and a video. If you come across wildlife, especially out here, there are heaps of kangaroos, and yes, baby joeys, they're just so cute and adorable. Watch from afar, take a photo, Don't try to pet them, don't try to snatch them away, just admire from afar. It's the same for kangaroos, for wallabies, wombats, all sorts of wildlife, obviously as well the koalas. Just watch from afar, and that's about it. Don't snatch wildlife.
Yeah, I don't think this is a an opinion that's open to debate. Oops, Ruth. Yeah, that's an opinion that's not open to debate. I think most people would have seen that story of this American tourist visiting Australia. I think this happened somewhere up north, and she was filmed by her friend snatching a Joey wombat, and you can see Mummy Wombat was very distressed. And the thing is, this American tourist calls herself an environmental scientist or something like that, something to do with environment and wildlife. But anyone who has any sort of interest in the environment at all, who's worth their salt, would never do such a thing. Anyway, she's no longer in this country, and I do believe not welcome back. All right, let's keep going. So what we're looking at here is ground being dug up for roots, grubs, that sort of stuff, along what would be ordinarily like a marshland. You can see it continuing all the way along. This was done by wild boars. That's another introduced species to this landscape. A very dangerous and very destructive pest. If you happen to see a wild boar out in the Australian country, keep a good distance from them because they are dangerous. As you can see, it's we're not exactly bush bashing today. This is a like a maintenance road or a service track used by the rangers and whoever else has got authorization to use it. So this is also doubles up as a track that goes out to the destination that we're going to. So the car park back there, probably about 4 kilometres. The total distance to the destination is 7 kilometres, so it's a 14-kilometre hike all up. So this is kind of like a mid-length walk that we would do. A long-range walk would be beyond 20 kilometres. Sometimes when you're hiking out bush, you need some sort of indicator to tell you that you're on the right track. And as you can see, the bush can get quite thick. And if you don't know where you're going, you don't have a map or a compass or something like that, you can find yourself lost very easily. And that's where these things come in handy. People tend to put these tapes onto bush and shrubbery just to give you an indication that you're heading in the right direction. Thank goodness this is here. Otherwise, we would have absolutely no idea where we're going. Wouldn't that be right? All right, we're nearly there. Well, here we are, team. We've been hiking for 10 kilometres along Nass Valley Fire Trail, and we've reached our destination, Horse Gully Hut. Now, in Australia, particularly around the southeast in Tasmania, where the high country is, you'll find huts all over the place for various reasons. This one, Horse Gully Hut, was built sometime in the early 1900s on the site of, oh, it's got dunnies here too, on the site of a older structure that was built here in around the 1880s. The Europeans that settled here took up land selection, were doing like mostly cattle farming, rabbiting, some odd mining in the rivers and streams as well. The structure as we see it today was refurbished in the 1950s to the corrugated iron. So originally this would have been like slab wood and bark roof or something like that. It's in an open clearing, so it's protected from bushfire. Overseas, like in the UK, for example, these kind of things would be called like a bothy, or some people would call it a bossy. In North America, you'd call these kind of things a cabin, but here in Australia, we call them huts. So like I said earlier, these kind of things are all over the high country on the southeast of Australia and in Tasmania, in the interior parts of Tasmania as well. Originally built by European pioneers back in the day, and in some cases they would have, coming on, purposely built for emergency shelter for people hiking out in the high country and that. So when this land was incorporated into the national park in the 1980s, the authorities decided to keep this structure in place for that very reason, as emergency shelter in case you need it. Alright, well, let's have a look inside. Here we come.
What's the code word?
The code word is mich bummen. Danke. We'll just let things adjust, but here we are. So cabin etiquette, or hut etiquette, like in any other place overseas, you leave the hut in exactly the nature where you find it. Kat's just picked up a visitor's book, and so we'll have a look at that. Got a little bit of information stuff up here. It is a bit warm in here because of the corrugated iron. It's collecting the heat from the sun, so during the winter months that wouldn't be too bad. We've got like a concrete and stone fireplace. Some wood there. Plenty of places to collect wood around here in the bush. Not much in the way of things to sleep on, but plenty of things to sit on. A bit like a little storage thing of some description. Fire extinguisher. There's a bed frame. Yeah, so it's very rudimentary, very basic. But yes, in case you're wondering, you are allowed to camp in here. You can use it for an overnight stay. Oh, in emergencies, yes, but if you're out here hiking and you couldn't be bothered putting the tent up, you can actually stay here. But you follow the rules. Leave the hut in exactly the manner in which you found it, in a clean and tidy manner. And like I said, there is a lot of huts, not so much identical to this, but very similar in size, especially, that all over the high country on the southeast of the Australian mainland and the interior of Tasmania. Very much part of Australian culture. And yeah, like I said, very similar to the UK, where you've got your bothies, otherwise known as bossies, and in North America, where you've got your cabins all through the woods. So yeah, these are very cool. I believe this is the last cabin that we've explored now for the ACT. There are a lot more to see, so we plan on seeing as many as we can, and we'll take you along for the ride. And over there, when we've talked about dunny just a little while ago, a dunny is a toilet, and that's a dunny. So it's a drop toilet. All right, okay. We'll finish up here and we'll head back shortly after we have something to eat.
All right, guys, I'm just waiting for my delicious cooked breakfast to be ready to be consumed. And just a bit about bushbash etiquette. I love that word, bushbash. In German, it's just so boring. Wanderung. Ugh, boring. All right, so with bushbash, especially when you come into huts like that, just make sure you leave it as it is. And there is a saying, whatever you bring in, you take out. So please don't leave any rubbish, because there's no way anybody comes up here or out here and collect your rubbish. Just use your common sense and as I said, just take all your rubbish, even the small bits and bobs, and Yes, so everybody can enjoy huts like this and places like that. No, places like this. I can't even speak because I'm so hungry. Now let me see if that delicious meal of mine is ready to be consumed yet. It doesn't look very pleasant, but hot. Not bad. Not bad at all. Excuse me. So sorry, guys. I'm gonna have this delicious meal to fill me up, and then we're gonna go straight back to the car because we don't have an awful lot of daylight left, and you don't really want to drive on these roads in the dark. Alrighty, we catch you on the way.
So that's our trip done, and we're going to make the long walk back. So from our car park further to the south here, on the sign it says 7 kilometres along the Nass File Trail. This is known as the Nass Valley, N-A-S-S. Actually no, N-A-A-S, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So it says it's 7 kilometres to the hut, but it's not. It's actually 10 kilometres. But that's okay. It's a medium to long stretch hike, so it's 20 kilometres all up in distance.
And it's on a fire trail, so easy to walk.
Yeah, that's right. This is what you're walking on. So it's just a fire trail / service road / maintenance road for the national park workers and that. It's undulating to a couple of steep little ascents and descents. Not very steep, not very long either, so it's quite an easy walk. Total duration, if you take the stops out, probably take you about an hour and a half to get out here, about that. So well, we're gonna get ourselves out of here back to the car because we're chasing the sun. So daylight savings over. Even though it's mid-afternoon, it will be getting dark in about an hour or two, and we want to be out of the national park before that happens. Thank you for joining us. We'll endeavour to get more videos up and going as they come along. Special shout out to those people subscribing to us. That's very nice of you.
Thank you.
We're not about preaching to people to follow, like, subscribe, whatever. If you like what you see and you want to see more, just be aware. Our caveat is we'll try to upload at least once, maybe twice a month, or as regularly as we can. All right, that's a hooroo from me and from Kat.
Hooroo.
See you next time.
See ya.
So I'm just going to do a very rare product shout out. What I've got here is a multi-use poncho. So you open up the zip here, put your head through, and you got yourself a poncho. You can also use this for a shelter. So we've got tie down points on either end. It's made from durable, like kind of like oilskin sort of, but it's canvas. But you put like an oil thing over it to keep it waterproofed. And of course a cotton inner layer as well. We like to use this as a ground sheet for a picnic or something like that. Of course, an emergency shelter, and of course, something that you can use as a blanket or a poncho in inclement weather. So when you're out hiking, particularly like a mid-range hike or even a long-range hike, something like this would be very, very handy. I like the idea it's got multi-purpose. It is quite a bulky item, but if you're going to be carrying something like this for a hike, you want to have some sort of multi-use to it. And so having it as a shelter, a poncho, a ground sheet, and a blanket, 4 uses in one, very well worth it. It's made by Jack Stillman, an Australian company. Shout out to those guys. And yeah, cool.